For most of human history, survival came first. Food, shelter, security. Only after those needs were met could anything else begin. Creativity came later. Learning came later. Risk came last. Even in wealthy societies, this pattern still holds. Most people do not choose work because it fulfills them. They choose it because they must. In modern society, rent is due, bills arrive, and stability feels fragile. Survival shapes decisions. It narrows focus. It limits imagination. When survival is uncertain, long-term thinking collapses. People plan for weeks, not years. They cope rather than explore. Universal Basic Income, often shortened to UBI, is a simple idea. Every adult receives a regular income. No conditions, no means testing, not as a reward, not as charity, but as a baseline. The purpose is not wealth, it is security. UBI does not promise comfort. It promises breathing room. Enough to survive, enough to think, enough to choose. It is not designed to replace ambition. It is designed to remove fear from decision-making. Scarcity changes how the human mind works. This is not philosophy, it is psychology. When resources feel limited, thinking narrows. Attention locks onto immediate threats. Creativity declines. Risk feels dangerous rather than exciting. This is not a failure of character, it is a biological response. Stress reduces learning capacity. Fear shortens time horizons. Uncertainty consumes mental energy. UBI is often discussed in economic terms, but its most immediate impact may be psychological. It reduces constant background stress, and when stress recedes, behavior changes. Supporters of UBI often describe a subtle shift. People stop asking, "What will keep me afloat?" and start asking, "What do I want to build?" Someone opens the cafe they always imagined. Someone returns to education they were forced to abandon. Someone leaves a damaging job without falling into crisis. These examples are often dismissed as naive, but they reveal something important. They are not about leisure. They are about agency. UBI does not remove effort. It removes desperation. Many of the most valuable things in society begin as risks. New businesses, new art, new research, new ideas. But risk is expensive, and failure is unforgiving. When survival depends on success, most people cannot afford to fail. UBI changes this equation. Failure becomes survivable, and survivable failure encourages experimentation. Societies that tolerate failure often innovate faster, not because people work less, but because they dare more. Where UBI has been tested, the results are rarely dramatic, and that is part of the point. Employment does not collapse. People do not withdraw en masse from society. Most continue to work, but well-being improves, stress decreases, mental health stabilizes. People make different choices, not reckless ones, but considered ones. UBI does not radically change human nature. It changes the conditions under which decisions are made. One of the most persistent fears around UBI is idleness, that people will stop contributing. Evidence suggests something more complex. People continue to work, but they renegotiate their relationship with work. Hours shift, jobs change, priorities realign. Work becomes less about endurance and more about meaning. This does not eliminate effort, it redistributes it. Much of the most important work in society is unpaid. Caring for children, supporting aging relatives, maintaining communities. These activities create enormous value, but they rarely generate income. UBI acknowledges this imbalance. It treats contribution as broader than employment. Care is no longer invisible, and dignity is no longer tied only to wages. learning is often framed as a luxury, something to pursue early in life, or not at all. UBI changes this framing. Education becomes iterative, lifelong, adaptive. Adults return to study. Skills evolve. Careers shift. This matters in a world of rapid technological change, where one profession may not last a lifetime. UBI does not guarantee success, but it does make reinvention possible. This conversation does not exist in isolation. Automation is accelerating. Artificial intelligence is reshaping work. Tasks once done by humans are becoming optional, not overnight, but steadily. UBI is often proposed as a response to this shift, not to stop technology, but to soften the transition. If machines produce more value with less labor, the question becomes distribution, not production. Who is it that benefits from this new efficiency? And who will absorb the disruption? When survival is secured, time changes meaning. Time can be spent learning, creating, caring, resting. This is not idleness, it is reallocation. Throughout history, progress has reduced the hours needed to survive. UBI simply makes that reduction explicit. The question is not whether people will use time well. The question is whether society allows them to. A common argument against UBI is that pressure creates purpose. That struggle gives life meaning. There is truth here, but there is also harm. Purpose chosen freely is different from purpose imposed by fear. One inspires growth, the other enforces compliance. UBI does not remove challenge, it removes coercion. People still strive, they simply choose what they strive for. UBI represents a shift in how societies define responsibility. Not earn your right to exist, but exist, then contribute. It suggests survival is a shared foundation, not a personal test. This idea challenges deeply held beliefs about work, merit, deserving. And that discomfort is part of why the idea divides opinion. At its most hopeful, UBI offers a simple promise. That human potential is larger than the labor market. That creativity should not depend on privilege. That fear should not be the engine of society. It imagines a world where people are not trapped by necessity, but guided by curiosity. This is not about guaranteed happiness. It is about expanded possibilities. If survival were guaranteed, what would people choose to do? Would they create? Would they care? Would they learn? Or would meaning require something else entirely? UBI does not answer this question. It exposes it. Universal basic income is not a solution to every problem. It does not eliminate inequality. It does not resolve human desire. And it does not guarantee fulfillment. But it does one powerful thing. It separates survival from submission. It asks whether fear is the best organizing principle for society, and whether a future shaped by intelligence and automation requires a new foundation beneath human life. The answer is not simple, but the question is unavoidable. Join us every Sunday for deeper stories, bigger questions, and long-form explorations that go beyond the short videos, because knowledge doesn't stop at 60 seconds.
Thanks for watching. This is 60-second knowledge now extended, because curiosity doesn't stop at 60 seconds. Subscribe on YouTube and follow us on TikTok.